Hello everyone, Bart here, and welcome to some more of Sulli-Ween. Last year for Sulli-Ween, I reviewed Hotel Transylvania, and even though the story is flawed, it really made up for it with its funny humor, wondrous animation, and good characters. But now we have the sequel that, despite being panned by critics, is actually not as bad as they say, as it pretty much surpassed the original. And being written by Adam Sandler and Robert Smigel, this is something worth admiring. And this sequel is simply known as Hotel Transylvania 2. Mavis and Jonathan get married, and 1 year later, the two have a baby boy they name Dennis, or as Drac calls him, Denisovich. Yet Dennis is more human than vampire, and by the time he's almost 5 years old, Drac becomes upset that Dennis is not growing fangs and believes him to be a vampire. So with the help of Jonathan, Drac tries to get Dennis to grow fangs by having him and his friends show their monstrous side. While Jonathan takes Mavis to California to see if it's right for Dennis, when he's really keeping her distracted and trying not to have her and Dennis move there. As much as I enjoyed the first movie, I feel like that the sequel has done a much better job in terms of its story, characters, and animation. Where the story in the first film is about Drac keeping Mavis from leaving the hotel, here is about Mavis wanting to leave the hotel with her son, who's more human than vampire. Even though Dennis gets along well with the other monsters, including Winnie, his werewolf girlfriend. And that puts more of a burden on Drac, who wants Dennis to grow fangs since he believes him to be a vampire. And now with both humans and monsters getting along, living at the hotel and such, it makes it more problematic for Drac when Mavis tries to invite her grandfather Vlad over for special occasions, but Drac refuses since his father hates humans and would attack them. Okay, in hindsight the story is all over the place, but its basic premise is better and understandable than the last film, and that's what I'm going with. But the other stuff that makes it better than the last film are its animation and jokes. They're more funny and out there, and just as wild and crazy. There are cutaway jokes like Bigfoot playing soccer and Griffin teaching yoga, and then there are jokes on the technology like Drac says he'll get Bluetooth, but a literal Bluetooth enters in. And a zombie bellhop looking at his Facebook profile that mostly consists of brain-related foods. The animation is a lot more zany than the last film, with the characters looking and acting more like cartoons than anything else. It's mostly nothing but wall-to-wall crazy antics from when the monsters tried to be scary to Mavis's wild appetite for new and fun things like biking at a skate park and whacking a piñata. All these things make the movie more fun and enjoyable, and even get a smile or laugh from me. And there's hardly anything to complain about. Now I've gone over the actors from the last film I did, so I'll go over the new ones, and each one is pretty enjoyable. Mel Brooks voices Vlad, Asher Blinkoff voices Dennis, Nick Offerman voices Mike, Megan Motley voices Linda, Rob Riggle voices Bella, Dana Carvey voices Dana, Chris Kattan voices Keiki, John Lovitz voices the Phantom of the Opera, and Robert Smigel voices Harry Three-Eye and the Navigator. As a whole, this movie is funny. The characters are fun, the story is well done, and the animation is great. Director Gendy Tartakovsky has done a great job of continuing the previous film and is better than the last. It took the last film to a much bigger level of craziness, with more funny jokes, both visual and verbal, wild animation that's more out there, and characters that are still enjoyable with designs more cartoony. It was a real blast for me watching this film, and this is certainly one of the best sequels I've ever seen. So today, this movie we're giving a rating of 3 stars. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, support me on Patreon, and tune in next week for more of Sulli-Ween.